morning. Today is Friday, October 8th. I am Corinthia Webster reporting for UFTV.
I am Samantha Adkins. It's homecoming weekend, and that means friends, family, and of course, football. One University of Findlay football player has a story of tragedy and triumph. UFTV's Colin Frazier introduces us to a student athlete who overcame a gruesome injury to make it to the UF football field.
I think being happy in life is kind of a mindset, and I mean, you can kind of control how you look at things and what you think about things.
Uriah Schwemley-Giesel is a junior on the University of Findlay football team, but it was a high school basketball game that helped shape his perspective on life, sports, and attitude.
So the second game, I got a steal, and then I went up for a dunk, landed on my hands, and it was really bad. It shattered them both.
As a high school freshman, Uriah says he was just going too fast and he had to catch it himself after a dunk with his hands.
It was mostly just shock, because I could just, my bones didn't come out of my arms. I could see it wasn't right.
Clint Dillon is his uncle. He's also a track coach at UF and was there when it happened.
I can still see it like it was yesterday, and I was watching my nephew go down with a horrific injury, and then I'm watching my brother, who's his head coach, try to hold himself together as he's watching his son, obviously in severe pain.
Uriah was rushed to the local hospital.
They couldn't really do anything because they didn't have the stuff because I needed major surgery and stuff, so they sent me to Children's in Columbus, and I mean, they took great care of me.
By the time they got there, it was 3 a.m., and they were planning for surgery in the morning, but his arm started to swell, badly.
Yeah, they cut it open, and then I had to sit for a while, and I had some sort of vac. It kind of sucks the bad stuff out, and then they went back and skin grafted over top of it.
He spent several months recovering, but surprised everyone when he was able to play AAU basketball that spring, and then football.
He just was so positive through it, and never seemed like he blinked. He just knew it was going to be okay, and
they've healed well. I mean, I know my fingers are a little bit more stiff than they used to be. But I feel like they have a little bit more pain, but that's about it. I mean, nothing too bad.
His attitude seems accepting and well-adjusted for such a traumatic injury.
I just think that, life just gives you things that get you down, and I just think that everyone has different problems that we don't know about.
It's made him better. He's a stronger person for it, and he doesn't make excuses about it.
I just like to be positive and just trying to bring people a smile on their face, or just be a happy person to maybe make someone's day better.
For UFTV News, I'm Colin Frazier.
Thank you, Uriah, for letting us know some of your story. It is hard to imagine what $1 trillion looks like, much less $28.8 trillion, but that is what is at stake right now. The U.S. Congress has been in internal struggle over raising the nation's debt ceiling to meet current financial obligations. As of Thursday, lawmakers have come to a short-term deal to increase the debt ceiling. University of Findlay's Pulse editor, Leah Alsept, reports on all the money talk really means.
Many people have a budget. They set their limit of how much they can spend according to their income. And many people go over their budget. The same thing happens with the U.S. government. University of Findlay Assistant Professor of Economics and Finance, Dr. Gregory Arburn, explains.
Currently, the debt ceiling is at $28.8 trillion. The U.S. GDP is right about $23 trillion. So we've just recently, in the last couple of years, maybe just a couple months ago, extended the debt ceiling and got into a situation where our public debt is over 100% of GDP.
Arburn says no one has said precisely how much they want to raise the debt ceiling.
But if we're at the limit of the 28.8 and they're wanting to spend $3.5 trillion on something, infrastructure project, that's going to take it up over 30%. We're going to be at over 140% debt to GDP. We've never been there before.
The U.S. dollar is the world reserve currency.
And the dollar's well respected, and the dollar's has that reserve currency status, and there really isn't anything else out there that can replace it. I mean, in terms of the size, the breadth, the depth, the sheer quantity of U.S. dollars that circulate globally to satisfy trade is a lot.
According to BusinessInsider.com, the debt ceiling was introduced in 1917. It was supposed to curb government spending. Once the government hits the ceiling, Congress can raise it, which has happened 57 times. Or it can temporarily suspend it, which makes it a future problem. If the government doesn't act, the country could default on its debt.
It could very negatively affect the value of the dollar. If we don't make our coupon payments on our debts, it'd be the first time in the history of the United States that that's happened.
If the U.S. government can no longer borrow money, it could place payments on a multitude of programs in jeopardy. ABC News reports that it could mean stopping or delaying Social Security payments for 15 million seniors, paychecks for U.S. military service members, and postal workers or other federal employees. The same could happen with veterans' benefits. It could lead to spiking interest rates, which would affect personal loans for everyone. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told Congress in late September the U.S. could run out of money around October 18th. She says this is not for any potentially new debt. It's about paying the bills that are due now. Yellen also suggests getting rid of the debt ceiling. Arburn says he understands that idea, but ultimately, it may not work.
I don't know, because we keep getting in this situation where we have to keep raising it. Yeah, I suppose we ought to just keep the debt ceiling in place, even though we keep moving the line in the sand. If government was responsible enough, we just wouldn't have to keep putting a limit on the checking account, right?
For UFTV News, I'm Leah Alsept.
Thank you, Leah, for giving us an in-depth look at what the debt ceiling is. Thank you for joining us today for UFTV, and have a great homecoming weekend.